We invented gods to sleep at night. When the wind howled, we gave it a name. When thunder struck, we called it anger. When death came, we painted it with wings and promised it meant something. That was how it began, not with faith, but with fear. Fear of the dark. Fear of meaninglessness. Fear of being alone in an endless void that doesn't care. So, we built stories to fill the silence. Stories that made the chaos feel like it had a plan. And in those stories, we found comfort. We made gods and then somehow they made us. But somewhere along the way, we forgot they were ours. We forgot they came from our minds, our hopes, our desperate need to believe we matter. And the myths we made to soothe ourselves began to rule us. We stopped asking questions. We stopped thinking. We stopped daring to wonder what might be true beyond what we'd been told. Faith became the leash we wrapped around our own necks and called it salvation. Think about it. Every civilization had its gods, each one certain theirs was the truth. Egypt had Ra, Greece had Zeus, the Norse had Odin. Every culture built their heavens, their hells, their chosen people. And every time a new god rose, the old ones were declared false. Yet no one ever stopped to ask, what if they all were? We like to say faith unites us, but look around. Faith divides. It's drawn borders in blood and burned the bridges of reason. From crusades to jihads, inquisitions to witch hunts, we have murdered for the comfort of our illusions. We call it devotion, but it's addiction to certainty. And certainty is the death of truth. People don't cling to faith because it's true. They cling because it's easier. It's easier to think a cosmic plan explains your suffering than to face the chaos head-on. It's easier to believe you'll see your loved ones again than to accept that death might just be nothing. It's easier to pray than to take responsibility for the world yourself. Faith is humanity's oldest sedative, lullaby whispered across millennia. It's okay. Someone's watching. Someone cares. There's a reason for everything, but that whisper comes at a cost. Because once you need comfort more than truth, you'll believe anything that soothes you. Every war waged in his name. Every child taught they're broken until they're saved. Every law that punishes love because an ancient book said so, all of it born from the same addiction. We forgot that gods were supposed to be metaphors, mirrors of our hopes and fears. Instead, we made them monarchs. We became subjects of our own inventions. Even now, in a world of satellites, stem cells, and quantum physics, people still kneel to Iron Age myths. They thank God for touchdowns but ignore him in tsunamis. They call cancer a test and genocide mysterious ways. Faith teaches them to rationalize cruelty as holiness. Ignorance is humility. Obedience is virtue. Here's the quiet truth most won't admit. Faith didn't save humanity. Humanity saved itself, in spite of faith. We cured diseases once blamed on demons. We crossed oceans once said to belong to gods. We reached the stars faith told us we'd never touch. And every time, religion had to catch up or get left behind. Science didn't kill God. God died when we stopped needing him to explain lightning. And yet, there's something tragic about it, because faith began as poetry, an attempt to make the infinite understandable. Somewhere inside every prayer is a human voice whispering, I don't want to be alone. That's the part I don't mock. That's the part I understand. We built heaven to make death bearable. We built hell to make injustice feel temporary. We built gods so we could believe that love lasts longer than flesh. But what we built to comfort ourselves has become our cage. We trade truth for belonging. We silence doubt because it threatens our tribe. We call fear, faith, and shame holiness. And the saddest part, we could have had wonder without worship. We could have had awe without obedience. Could have had meaning without the lie. Now, we kill each other to prove our gods are real. We bomb cities, ban books, burn witches, all to defend stories written by men who thought the earth was flat. We call it righteousness, but it's fear, weaponized. So maybe it's time to wake up, not to destroy faith, but to outgrow it. To remember that meaning doesn't need a master. That morality doesn't need mythology. That compassion doesn't need commandments. Because the stars don't need us to pray to them. They're already burning, brilliant, indifferent, and free. Maybe that's what we should have been all along. Not worshipers, not sinners, just aware. Aware that this life, This brief, flickering spark between two eternities of nothing is ours. And if that scares you, good. Because fear is the beginning of honesty. And honesty is where truth begins. Faith was humanity's longest lie. It made the dark feel safe. But maybe it's time we turned on the light and finally saw that we were never alone. Just afraid.